Grease monkeys and gearheads. Bounce a ball joint off your boosted bumper. Fuel the fulminations of your fluidic flywheel. And remember that the true measure of horsepower is friendship.
Vroom, 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 because it's time to vroom, vroom, Tull to me!
That was good. It's almost like you've seen a car before.
I've heard of them. I've heard them.
I've heard they're a bad idea.
What'll horses do now?
Welcome back. I am Omen.
And I am Nick McGill.
Together we are Feckless Mo.
And this is Talk Tull to Me.
A slow joyride through the rocky terrain of prog rock in which neutral steer Nick and overdrive Omen will take a peep under the chromed-out hood of each and every song that roadworthy rock band Jethro Tull has ever rolled off the assembly line. We will test the tensioning strength of Martin Multi-Leaf Bar, get a significant amount of mileage out of David Powertrain Peg, and stiffen our suspension with special guest Eddie Jounce Bumper Jobson. And if we drive this rig carefully, we may reach 200,000 miles before having to change the Ian anti-lock braking system Anderson.
I'm going to be honest with you. I talked to my manager. I really shouldn't be selling this podcast for this low, but I mean,
I'm probably going to get fired for this.
Tell me what I can do to get you to take this podcast away
off
this
the
week.
Lot. I need it gone today.
We need to get rid of this podcast.
You know, actually, the metaphor of a car is very apt for talking about Jethro Tull. It's sort of the 1969 Chevy Impala of Theseus.
Theseus's Impala.
Theseus's Mustang.
Yeah, I like it. That's pretty
Nick,
good. Oh man,
welcome back. I'm glad to have. I'm glad that we're back, both in the back seat of this podcast together. I don't know who's driving.
Your hands are in uncomfortable places, but that's what happens when you're in the back seat, baby. So.
We started getting pulled over. We both jump in the back.
Yep.
Plausible deniability. Neither of us can get in trouble.
Right. Yeah.
Anything before we jump into the song of the jour?
No, indeed. Except, yes, we have emails.
Your emails, sir.
We are going to start this week with 2 emails from 2 new writers-inners. I'm going to start us off with one from Chris. They begin with, what a Tull experience. And A's in quotes. Yeah. Says, Omen and Nick, I find your podcast very entertaining with your knowledge and humor. Your thorough, in-depth analysis of each song makes me rethink what I thought I knew about these songs. I find myself shaking my head in agreement or shouting at you that you're both crazy.
Yeah?
Not
right.
Uncommon. Yep, I like it. I very much enjoy the Kool-Aid and now can't get enough. You very much deserve my patronage and 5-star review. Thank you.
Ooh.
On my commute home, I find myself parked in the driveway, not entering the front door until the episode is over. Now that, I think, is the most credit for a podcast.
That's right. Talk Tull to Me driving families apart since 2019.
Mommy, where's Daddy? He's in the driveway again, listening to his podcast.
He's with his other family. Talk Tull to Me.
My jumpstart, like many others, started when I was very young and overheard my older brother playing songs from the wood and heavy horses.
Wow.
My first Tull concert, and my first concert ever, was A. I was 16 and a friend had an extra ticket. I thought to myself, this isn't the Tull I'd remembered, but the show was so amazing. A true entertainer with his one leg posing, enthusiastic dancing and flute spinning, not to mention the huge balloons. I walked away in awe and have been hooked ever since. I haven't missed a tour since. I'm up to 14 right now, including a few anniversary, Christmas, and light music tours. I've since dragged every family member to each and every Tull show. The last was my 14-year-old son to the 50th anniversary show. I'm happy to say I bleed Tull.
Wow.
A game I play with my fellow Tull skulls. What are your 5 Tull Desert Island albums, one of which must be a live album? What are your 3 Time Machine tours?
Oh, that's a good one.
And what Time Machine tour would you have drinks with Ian after the show? I have mine, but they're constantly changing. Your friend and follower, not too old to rock and roll, Chris.
Oh, lovely, Chris. Thank you so much for your Tull from ages past relation to us, for your kind words, and for your jump start.
And your patronage. And
your
5
patronage.
stars. Greatly appreciated.
And your stars.
Yeah. And just a reminder, if anyone wants to sound off in the comments or most likely the Patreon, what are your 5 Tull Desert Island albums, one of which has to be live? What are your 3 Time Machine tours? And what Time Machine tour would you have drinks with Ian after the show?
Yeah, for my Desert Island ones, I would try to choose as many double albums as possible because that would provide roofing material for my hut.
Yeah. I mean, we know the songs well enough that you don't actually need to listen to them.
Oh, no.
Yeah, okay.
Nick, I have an email here from a Tom W.
Tom Dubs. Give it to me.
Who writes, subject, something's on the move, historical reference. Message, you feckless momes, you. I listened to your analysis of the Stormwatch song, Something's on the Move, and I need to give you a little perspective. In the 70s, scientists were also discussing climate change, except they theorized that the Earth's climate was getting cooler, not hotter. LOL, jokes on them. It was thought that it could result in a man-made ice age. This might explain the overall tone of this environmental album.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense with the giant iceberg and the hidden enemy.
Oh, totally. And the general chill of the album. I mean, it's brilliant. And even the rush for energy, this kind of desire to stockpile fuel before the impending winter, like my dad does every year with logs.
Yeah, he stuffs his cheeks full of acorns.
He does,
and then packs a couple of logs on the fire, and he goes to bed.
Yep, that's it.
Yep.
That's great perspective, Tom W. Thank you so much for writing in. We always appreciate the mome mind coalescing to bring us these facts and this context.
That we do. Thank you again. Thank you, everybody, for writing in. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you, Nick.
And thank you, Omen.
And Nick, what is next in our pre-show preamble?
Next in our pre-show is this album's Dogs in Midwinter. So we're talking album art. Everybody, pull out your vinyls here. Omen has his. I have mine
right here.
We're looking at the front here. We've got Jethro Tull in the upper right-hand corner. We've got the Ian Anderson A symbol cast into the clouds, much like the bat signal.
Yes, except it's a burning red. The color choices are really interesting on this album. It's basically on the front here. It's black, red, and white. But most of the white is tinged with the red glow.
Yeah, that kind of scary red warning light fuchsia, I guess.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so we've got the full cast at a airport watchtower.
A control tower.
Yeah, control tower. Thank you. We've got Ian in the front, Eddie Jobson and his very sharp cheekbones kind of standing up at the top. Martin is in the middle with some headphones on. I don't know what Dave and Mark look like, but they're the other two in the back, and one of them has some really badass shades on.
Yeah. Eddie Jobson is holding a map of some
Oh, yeah.
kind.
That's right. It's the map to his violin. It's buried somewhere.
That's right. Interesting little detail here. You can see on Ian's left hand is a rather expensive-looking watch.
Oh, a Piaget?
An odd bit of flash for him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe it's just like a hunk of metal and it's just reflective.
It could be.
You can also see a fairly substantial hoop earring in his ear.
Oh, that's true. That's
right. I've never noticed that before. And he has the A emblazoned on his left collar, and it looks like no one else does.
He's also got a chain. He's wearing a chain around his neck.
Oh, yeah.
Seems like he broke down and finally bought some rather modest, expensive jewelry for himself.
He's embracing the 80s. And we should say that they're all in the fabled white jumpsuits. I suppose they took the shots before they decided to make them multicolored. Thank you, Eddie Jobson.
Right.
And let's flip over onto the back here. We've got them on a runway. It's evening now. Martin is popping out of the driver's side of a big old lorry, as they call it.
I think that might be the kind of the rig that you use to tow planes with.
Probably, yeah.
Or maybe what you use to tow maybe that's the fuel tanker.
Oh, yeah. It's clearly some sort of utility vehicle.
Yeah, big flat nose truck.
And we have all of them standing there in their white jumpsuits. I should note now I see the A on every one of their costumes. It's just that Ian is the one who has it on his lapel. Everybody else has it kind of on the front.
Yes.
And that's really it. And they're staring off into the distance at something very, very intrigued, whether it's missiles coming in or a plane landing or a four-wheel drive vehicle of some kind.
Ian's gaze can only be described as something between Frodo seeing Mount Doom for the first time and a frog that's just been pithed.
A frog that's been pithed? What's a pith?
That's where you stick a piece of metal up the spine into the brain.
Oh. Why would you do that with a frog, Omen?
It's for science.
Oh, for science. So, about this album. This fell under the art direction of Chrysalis's Peter Wagg, and they went to a local aerodrome with the photographers John Shaw and Martin Goddard. So they put on those white jumpsuits because they wanted something of a vaguely artistic, futuristic vibe. Fun little tidbit here. This is the first cover since Benefit to feature the whole band, not just Ian.
Oh, wow.
And it's also the last one to do that.
So bizarrely, my vinyl is a hand-me-down. The album itself is A, but the insert that I have features the songs Band on the Run, Bluebird, Let Me Roll In, Picasso's Last Words.
Band on the Run.
Who is this?
It's Wings.
That's
Paul McCartney. Yeah, that's Paul McCartney right there, dude.
Wow. Yeah. How strange. Well, that's not the official Tull release. Obviously, that's been some sort of a mix-up. But
I would say so. Yes.
But that's the wonderful thing about physical media is you get some history right there. You get the story of that piece of vinyl. It was accidentally put into a Wings case and then put back into the A.
Yeah, just the sleeve part, not the actual cardboard. Yeah.
So sorry, you were saying art direction.
Oh no, that's it. I finished it.
Well,
I finished it. It was the art direction photos, first since Benefit and last to feature the whole band. Oddly enough, was supposed to be a solo album, and it's the first one to feature the whole band.
Yeah. Hey.
Oddly, yeah.
I'm sure everyone is positively teething at their chilled plastic toys to get into the actual song.
I know you are.
I have gone through so many chilled plastic birdies.
Omen, what are we talking today?
Nick, we are talking about one of my favorite songs off of this album, Four-Wheel Drive, Low Ratio.
Right, so the title is the number 4, period, W, period, D, period, parentheticals, low ratio.
Yes, often spoken as
Four-wheel drive, low ratio. However, the working title was just Four-Wheel Drive written out.
How irrelevant.
Absolutely. This was recorded on June 2nd in 1980 at Maison Rouge. Take 4 again was the master.
One for each wheel.
That's right. Take Four-Wheel Drive. They attempted to actually record this back in 78, which is circa Heavy Horses.
Oh, interesting.
Which would have sounded so very different. I would love to hear that, though. It might be on one of those Heavy Horses
remasters.
Bonus tracks, yeah.
Yeah.
And it is, as to be expected, just about Ian enjoying a particular type of vehicle.
Or is it? Let's find out together. Nick.
Omen, sell me on this song.
Oh my gosh. You know, everyone says that they want a fast, clean 3-minute song, and they're all lying to themselves.
Okay.
What they really want is, well, I guess this is a 3-minute song. It's 3 minutes and 37 seconds. But this song can fit so much funk into it, so much bass.
It's suitably funky.
Yeah. You'd be losing money not to buy this song, frankly.
I mean, it's an investment. I'd say it's an investment.
It's an investment in yourself. You deserve it.
It loses half of its value once you take it off the lot, but it's still worth it.
But it gained twice that from how much you love it.
That's right. And that's ultimately all that matters.
That's right.
Yeah.
What else, if you don't buy this car, what is going to rust in your backyard in 10 years?
I mean,
where are the badgers going to live, Nick?
Don't you like to drive and see through the foot panel? Isn't it exciting to you?
Nick, do you, I think I know the answer to this question. Do you like cars or do you care about cars?
I have a very soft spot for like very early Corvettes.
Really?
I don't know anything about them, but something about that design is just, it pushes a button for me.
Wow, I didn't ever know that about you.
Very, very early Corvettes, like circa Stingray with the T-top and the point in the back.
Sure, now I know what to get you for Christmas.
That's right, thank you. I don't know anything about them, but there's just something about that. Other than that, I really like my Subaru.
Okay.
And I can't wait to buy an electric vehicle for my next car.
Yes, yeah, same.
But other than that, no, it doesn't do anything for me.
You're not like a gearhead. You don't like see a car and be like, oh, I bet that's got an exhaust system and a.
I'm not a gear anything. Like there's nothing on my body that's gear.
Yeah.
You're I would say you're a gear thorax, right? Like you're not like a full-on gearhead.
I'm a gear antenna.
Yeah, you have the things that you're interested in.
I like gear in general. I like objects. I relate to objects. They comfort me in a way.
Okay.
I like functionality and well, I never grew up thinking, oh, I want a cool car so I can be cool, or I want maximum torque and horsepower. Now I am a little bit more interested in that. I've spoken often about my Fiat 500 Abarth.
So you're still sticking to the not having a cool car to be cool then? Is that what you're saying?
I don't need my cool car to be cool. I just happen to have a cool car.
And you are cool separately.
Separately, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, that's what it is.
My Abarth has paid off, though. Did I tell you?
Are you saying you paid off the Abarth? Is that
No. Goodness, no. No, my much too expensive and unreliable Italian car finally paid off emotionally for me.
Oh.
When one of the 20-year-old something members of my cast of the play that I'm in currently said one day, "Oh, hey, I saw you have a really cool car." And I was like, "Well, and mission accomplished."
You kissed him full on the mouth and walked away.
Drove the car straight into the ocean.
That's great. That's wonderful.
But even before I had any interest in cars whatsoever, this song really did something for me.
I seem to recall that very early on. Like even when we were in college, this was maybe one of the only songs that we half-heartedly discussed off of this album. And it was me shaking my head and you saying how much you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I think for me it's about, there's a purity to this song that is rare. There's a simplicity to this song that is rare with Tull.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It's
Usually, with the writings of Ian Anderson, we have layers and levels of meaning. We have sub-basements and basements and secret rooms and circular corridors of meaning. And a broom closet that you didn't know about.
A Saw-like death dungeon, torture porn, just to get through to
if you will.
I will. I will.
And that's just the instrumental.
So, I mean, that's very valid. There is little poetry here in terms of the floral and the veiled and layered. I'll give you that.
And musically, I just really like it. That's what first turned me on to it. Is just It really activates my lower chakras.
Oh, my root is tingly. I'll give you particularly the music. The music redeems it for me. It really does. Yeah. It's like I said the last couple episodes. This is the third of that trilogy that is about its subject matter. I don't care for. It doesn't do it for me. It's boring. It's not interesting to me at all. But the music in here, it really does redeem it. It is quite funky. And having listened to it like on the really good headphones for the first time, like I was quite turned around by it.
And it's interesting, if you look at the album, side A is composed of 4 songs that really have a lot to do with events that were current to the time of writing.
Sure.
The B side, once you flip it over, is less so. Obviously, Protect and Survive, we talked about, is about, this particular nuclear holocaust pamphlet that everyone was issued.
Right.
Batteries Not Included and Uniform and Low Wheel Drive are a little bit more the kind of observations of things in Ian's life.
But even Protect and Survive, I would say all 4 of those are they're tangible.
Yes, that's
They're
true.
actual physical things that you can hold in your hand and look at, examine, write a song about.
They're hands on a hard body.
You can't, I guess you can't hold a 4-wheel drive in your hands, but
Not with that attitude.
no.
Go get back to the gym. Have you ever heard of the hands on a hard body competition?
Is it people holding their hands on a very, very buff person and the last one wins something?
No, that's hard-on's a hand body.
Oh, got one of those right now.
Hands on a hard body is a distinctly American event that occurs in the South. Maybe not so much these days, but the event is a local car dealership will put up a vehicle.
Oh, yes, yeah. So I was close, yeah.
And a group of people will put their hands on it, and whoever takes their hand off last wins. Whoever remains with their hand on the vehicle wins it. And it can go on for weeks.
I seem to recall at least one, if not 2 or 3 separate occasions of, those like 90s sitcoms that we grew up with, like Full House, Boy Meets World,
Sure.
Family Matters. I believe that was an episode. King of Queens was later, though, and trash.
Oh.
But I believe that was a story, like a main story arc in an episode for at least 2 or 3 of those. So I do know of that. Sure. I just didn't know that they probably didn't want to call it that for family television. But
there's also a musical called Hands on a Hard Body, which is spectacularly mediocre.
Fiercely average. Great.
Yeah. But we digress. Nick, shall we talk about the music?
Let us musically talk about this song. What a great drum start. Mark coming in solid and strong. Really pulling his own here and showing that he's a good, decent drummer. He really
bookends the song, in fact.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
And really sets up, for my experience, that playful energy of something that's raw, something that is primal, perhaps, something that is, stereotypically masculine feeling.
Sure.
But has still got that kind of proggy element of playfulness. You have that syncopation in there. You have a couple of rallentandos and moments where the meter changes. But overall, it's very sweeping of you. I want to say funky, but like yes, it's funky. But is that what is that drum style feel like? Is that bluesy? Like that there's it's super proggy. There's extra notes filled in, and it's not like a standard 4 on the floor, but what is that? I think it's Mark Craney.
It's Mark Craney, everybody.
It's rock and roll, Nick.
It's rock and or roll. Regardless, it's very good. It's very, very good. The bass comes in really strong. Bass is super funky.
I think that David Pegg is really the hero of this song.
Oh yeah, he's got some great slides in this thing. Very fun to listen to.
And the whole bass part of it is really pulled forward, which I think is appropriate for the song, for the material. But it's also a great showcasing of what he can do. We talked a little bit about his abilities last episode, I think, but
yeah,
it's extraordinary. I mean, he really has a different style. Before taking this journey with you, Nick, I always sort of thought of all bassists as being pretty much the same.
I know. I'm ashamed to admit that as well.
But in fact, they are individuals.
They are. They break off of the same hive, but
The bass tree.
But once they're broken off, they create their own personages.
They're all laid by the same bass queen and feed upon the same bass honey.
But if two bassists meet each other after they break off from the tree, they have to fight to the death.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Which involves a lot of dancing.
There can only be one that can
per flower
breed with the queen. But the bass flight dances, it really is beautiful. So this is the least synthy song of the album.
Yeah, that's true. We have some real life piano in it.
Is it real life though, or is it like synthy piano? It's just so. It's so like I don't want to say mediocre, like for lack of a better term. It's not as crazy and wacky synth that it sounds almost normal piano.
To my ear, it's just a straight up piano. Especially when we get to the breakdown. Coming out of the breakdown, we have some of those piano riffs. It sounds very real piano-y to me.
Take you down to the edge of town where the road stops. We start to hold the ground.
For me, where the electronic element comes in is in the manipulation of the voices.
Oh
where we have that probably the strongest occurrence so far in Tull of auto-tune.
Yes, yeah, both high and low.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
And it's
very
so much
interesting.
fun. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, I agree. I really like those. I think it adds a lot. It's very fun and different. I don't think we ever hear it again. We certainly haven't heard it up to this point.
Yeah.
It's one of those fun, like this fits here. Let's probably not do it again because it probably won't fit anywhere else, but it's good.
I think there are a couple of examples on of it being used in a very, very slight way.
Oh, okay.
In this case, it's being pulled out and really played with as an instrument. I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
Especially thinking of it in terms of it being this early usage of that technique.
Uh-huh. And then finally, Martin, when he comes in, when he does pull forward with his stings. Yeah. Very nice. Very, very nice. Yeah.
He really lets loose. It's again, it almost, there's something for me that this song almost feels a little bit like a parody of masculinity, or putting on the mask of masculinity.
I can see that.
Like Martin's guitar in this sounds a little bit like this is what it would sound like if Martin Barre played the guitar in the style of other rock musicians at the time.
Yeah, because it's almost shreddy.
It is almost shreddy. Yeah. It's like he could play in a hair band if he wanted to.
He doesn't want to.
He can play those guys off the stage, but he doesn't want to because he's Martin Barre.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But also, thinking back to the fact that they first tried to create this in 78, boy, would I love to hear this as a Heavy Horses version.
That's one thing that I want to talk about.
I'm not sure it would be as good, but I do want to hear it.
I think that it's really interesting to think about this song in the context of Heavy Horses because in one way, my gut reaction is, well, that wouldn't fit at all. But my lower intestine reaction is actually it fits in very well thematically.
So we're ignoring the
small intestine, yes.
We're ignoring the small intestine. Always ignore the small intestine.
Always, please don't give it any more attention.
We're ignoring the A sound here, and we're talking just about the...
Yes.
Okay. Absolutely. It's a farm vehicle.
It's a farm song. It's a fun farm song.
It's a work vehicle. Absolutely. Ian, this is the time when you didn't see every dude bro driving a Jeep with the top down or really rich a-hole driving a Range Rover, and they never see a speck of dirt.
Right, exactly.
Back then, these were not status symbols. They were hardworking farm vehicles and hauling vehicles. So yeah, Ian was driving one of these, a four-wheel drive of some kind. It probably was a very early Range Rover. In fact, I think I've seen pictures of him, or at least heard him talk about having a Range Rover early on at the Manor House.
Right.
So that's what this song is.
In a different context, this wouldn't be much different necessarily than Kip Moore's Somethin' 'Bout a Truck.
Something about a truck in a farmer's field, a no trespass sign, and time to kill.
Or the 1994 Joe Diffie hit, Pickup Man.
Well, I got my first truck when I was 3. Drove 100,000 miles on my knees. Hauled marbles and rocks and thought twice before I hauled a Barbie doll bed for the girl next door.
What I'm saying is there's a tradition of songs about people enjoying their vehicles.
But this, yes, I'll give you that. However, this song is not catering to a clientele who locks their pickup trucks, and their pickup trucks make the worst noises in the world when your 5-year-old is trying to sleep. Just saying.
No one's bitter. Right, this song would never be used in a car commercial, and it's
Right.
not designed for that.
It's not used to sell beer. It's not used to sell trucks.
No, there's no mention of beer. There's no mention of anything, really, except the truck.
Mm-hmm.
It's very focused, and that's what I like about it. That's where the purity of it comes from.
Yes, I concur. If I have to listen to this or a country song about a truck, I'll listen to this.
There's some wonderful syncopation in this song. It is in 4/4, as far as I can tell, but it doesn't quite feel like it because of the intense syncopation, especially with the flute. And there are some really distinct prog elements built in to especially the rhythm. And then, in the breakdown we get a couple more instances of playing with that. But all in all, it's fairly straightforward.
We get a key change at the final chorus. Did you catch that?
We sure do.
Yeah.
We sure do, buddy.
I could catch a key change.
I ain't never made a key change before.
I'm not against the idea of it. And finally, the last thing I have musically is that, like you said, we've got the bookends of Mark's drums.
Yeah.
At the very end, there's this one moment. I think it's the bass pedal that they put this echo on for some reason. It goes,
Mm-hmm.
and then it carries out. It's just a weird little touch. Not sure why, but I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, you always did like a weird little touch.
I mean, ask my priest.
Let's talk about the lyrics.
Sure. It is like you said, it's a fairly straightforward tale.
And yet, the thing that makes it intriguing for me is the scansion.
Okay, sure.
It's almost like a haiku in the sense that the first line begins an idea, the second line both finishes that idea and deftly starts a new one.
Okay.
Met a man just the other day, said his name was Jim. Boy, won't you take a look?
Met a man just the other day, said his name was Jim. Boy, won't you take a look?
I need to confess, I always thought it was Jim Boy.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize there was a period there, so I thought it was like Jim Bob,
Right. Well, that would fit more in an American talk.
Yeah,
context.
fair enough. Absolutely. We're gonna rewrite it and perform it that way.
Got a car for you. It's a real steal. Cleaned it right down. New brakes, clutch, and here's the hook. Yes, it's a 4-wheel drive.
Low ratio.
Got a car for you, it's a real steal. Cleaned it right down, new brakes, clutch, and here's the hook. 4-wheel drive.
So, cleaned it right down implies to me that it is not a stock vehicle. It is not an off the off the rack vehicle. It is a used vehicle that has been modified. Is that the sense that you got?
I got the used part. What makes you think it's modified?
Well, cleaned it right down makes me think that it's been stripped of anything non-essential.
Oh.
And then it's got new brakes, new clutch, and later on we find out that it has a roll bar.
Yeah.
It's got the winch, fitted wide tires. None of these are standard on most vehicles. It's been designed for specific usage.
Okay, fair enough. I thought it was because it's a used vehicle, he cleaned it down, meaning cleaned it up. I thought there was a lost in translation thing.
I think that's totally valid. Yeah, I think that's also, I would say that is also and or the correct interpretation.
I will take it. We are both right and we are both wrong.
We both have zero ability to confirm the truth on this.
Schrodinger's interpretation.
Yeah. So, Nick, let's talk about four-wheel drive, and specifically low ratio.
The concept of four-wheel drive.
The concept of four-wheel drive, Nick, what does that mean in a car?
Normally nowadays, I would say that most of your sedans, most of your really any car, even most trucks, are by default running at two-wheel drive, running just the front wheels are being propelled by the motor, and then the back wheels just happen to roll because the truck is rolling.
Or more regularly, the back wheels are powered.
Oh, is it the back? Oh.
Yeah, most vehicles have the back axle powered and the front does the steering.
Okay.
The Fiat actually is front wheel drive.
With your feet, right?
Yes. Front foot drive.
The pedals, yeah.
As Mr. Ferrari said, you don't put the horses behind the carriage.
That's interesting. Is that true? Did he say that?
Yes, but he was very drunk.
Oh, probably, yeah.
So four-wheel drive then implies
all of the wheels being driven by the engine.
Right. The advantage of which is that you get much better traction and you can, in theory, have better control over the vehicle on the road or off the road. The trade-off, of course, is that it takes more power to power all of the wheels.
Yeah.
Low ratio takes it a step further. And this is where the song, for me, the concept of this being the song gets really interesting.
So you're saying four-wheel drive is not by default low ratio, that is in addition?
Exactly. You can have a lot of old-fashioned four-wheel drive vehicles had low ratio or high ratio. And I remember when I was a kid, my dad had a four-wheel drive pickup truck, a big diesel truck. And to put it into four-wheel drive, you actually had to get out of the vehicle and twist the wheel locks on the side of the tires.
Holy cow.
Of the wheels, which is always my job in the snow, which was great fun. And I was never able to do it because I had tiny little, 6-year-old hands. But putting it into low ratio means something with the gears that I can't quite explain, but it essentially, the same amount of power is going to the wheels, but rather than speed, you trade off for torque.
Yep. That makes sense. That makes a ton of sense.
You can drive it in much more adverse conditions. So low ratio means you can drive on sand. You can drive up those really rocky hills. When you see the pictures of army jeeps going up, an impossible rocky incline.
Yeah,
that's all in low ratio. So you can't, if you try to take it above 35 or 40 miles an hour, you'll burn out the engine.
Yeah.
So it's really for off-roading, mud, slow going.
Yeah.
But you can go places that no one else could go.
Or heavy hauling, too.
Or heavy horses.
Yeah, hauling heavy horses, yeah.
Howling horses. Hallelujah.
So that brings us to the second verse. I took it home through the deep mud.
Uh-huh.
What's plugged happy as a boy in sand?
I think that's an Englishism. I think that's a Britishism.
Right?
He's not just regular happy. He's plugged happy. He's plugged in. It's like saying plumb happy.
See, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plugged happy, meaning he's wired. Plugged happy as a boy in sand. I don't know. Yeah. So he brings it home. He's got all the fancy stuff, like you said. The wide tires, the spotlight, the winch, brush bars up front to complete the plan.
Very wide tires for a night, the winch as well, and some brush bars up front to complete the plan.
Now it's really a four.
Now it really is. Because if you have just the four-wheel drive low ratio aspect, why would you have that if you don't have the tires that can go in the mud, if you don't have the winch that can pull the heavy stuff?
Well, and the winch, depending on where it's located, is also to pull the vehicle out. If you get stuck in the mud, you take the winch, wrap it around a tree,
Sure.
and winch yourself forward.
Yeah, I was thinking of winching someone else, but yeah, you can also do that
either way.
on yourself.
Yeah, I remember when my very first traffic accident, I was driving my mother's Subaru and skidded off the road in a storm, and a nice gentleman stopped with a huge truck, and he had a winch on the front. And he connected it to the Subaru, pulled us out, and then before he drove away, he got into his truck and he said, "And I didn't even have to put it into four-wheel drive," and sped out straight into a lamppost.
You're still not done being emasculated.
Guy, I think he probably remembers that incident more fondly than I do.
Yeah. Wait, did you say that was the Subaru?
Yes, that's when I impaled the Subaru.
And you couldn't... Oh, it was impaled, yeah.
Well, it was also very far down a ditch.
Oh, right.
In the snow.
But Subarus are auto four-wheel drive, but it was...
They are, which gives them excellent traction, but
Yeah.
it was being piloted by a 17-year-old idiot.
That it was.
I like the line, "Well, I'm blessed, got traction in a special way."
Yeah, that third verse is very, very veiled sexy, in a sense.
Yeah, well, I think that I love this song so much because, again, it's the purity. It's a really great description of someone having a great time with his new toy.
Of all the times you're like, he's just talking about, it's just purely innocent. There's only one layer. That is horseshit.
Really?
Take you down to the edge of town where the road stops. We start to hold the ground. Well, I'm blessed. Got traction in a special way. Hold the roll bar. Slide back. Feel me pull it round.
Take you down to the edge of town where the road stops. We start to hold the ground. Got traction in a special way. Hold the roll bar, slide back, feel me pull it round.
You think there's something sexual in that verse?
Omen Shade. How is this possible? How is this possible? Are you trolling me right now?
No, I never really, I mean, I thought, I read a little bit of innuendo on "Let me show you my four-wheel drive," but I thought maybe he's just, pulling up to the pub saying, "Hey, look at my new car."
Unbelievable.
I see your point.
You are so blindered by this song, by your love for this song. It's 100% look at my fancy new truck. Let's go someplace and enjoy it.
Well, and that is a theme which has been explored in every possible facet and nuance by the modern country artists.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Mud on the tires. Look at my brand new Chevy. Let's go get it stuck in the mud.
Yeah.
That's all kind of a common weird sex plan typified in those songs.
Thank God I have AAA. That's my favorite country song.
I will give you that there is perhaps an open door for a sexualized interpretation of that verse. However, for me, it's more the experience of like when you go on a roller coaster and you're like, oh.
You're not helping your cause at all, particularly with the physical gyrations and the.
Nick, anything else about the lyrics on this song?
I have nothing else about this song.
Nice song, nice vehicle.
Nice hard body.
Thank you.
Have you ever, you must have seen at least, have you ever seen American Psycho? with Christian
No,
Bale?
I never have seen it.
Oh my God, it's a brilliant film.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, and the book is actually really good too. Ray and I listened to the audiobook on like a really long road trip. But there's this point where Patrick Bateman is kind of he narrates throughout the whole thing,
right?
And he whenever he talks about like a woman as like an object of desire, he's like, she's a real hard body.
Wow,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. That's
odd.
I highly recommend you watch the film. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Not for kids. Also the quote. If anybody knows the film, you're going to be really like baffled about this. The quote that Ray and I use, well, I use more regularly than Ray, is "Don't just stare at it, eat it." You need to watch it to know the context.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you anything else.
I heard that he based his performance on an interview that he saw. Christian Bale based his performance of the psycho, of the murderer, on an interview of Tom Cruise that he saw,
I would not be surprised at all.
which he described Tom Cruise as having a very intense friendliness with nothing behind the eyes.
That's very accurate for Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. Terrifying.
A good personality consists of a chick with a little hard body.
Nick,
Omen.
what are we listening to next week? I ask as if I don't have the album sitting right next to me.
Goodness me. Next week, we are actually, believe it or not, we're going to wrap up A.
Oh, we're putting both of our sets of wheels into drive
Separately,
separately.
you're gonna get out and crank the wheels for me.
You're gonna winch the winch. We'll pull the car apart at the seams.
So we're gonna do 2 instrumentals and a short one. Because oh my God, why did I think "And Further On" was a lot shorter than that?
It's not at all.
Whoops.
It's one of the longer ones on the album.
We're still gonna do it. I'm doing it anyway.
Great,
So we're
let's do
doing the Pine Martin's Jig, "And Further On," and the bonus that came out with the A release just last year, I believe, Korowisk.
Oh,
Korowisk.
I've been looking for my Korowisk
Yeah.
forever. It's so hard to make good omelets without it.
It's with the egg whisk. You've got
With the egg
a whisk
Yeah,
drawer.
Can't find that either.
Oh, well, that's a problem.
Until next week.
Don't give your cash to Jim. Give your cash to us by going to patreon.com/Talk Tull to Me.
Boy, let me tell you how many patrons this Patreon can fit under the hood. What, at least one more.
This podcast is a 5-star drive podcast, and you need to make sure everybody knows about it by rating and reviewing. Please.
This podcast is not the fastest, but it will drive through the mud. It'll drive off-road. It's not road legal, and so we actually can't drive it on the road.
Until next week. That had nothing. There was nothing more to that, was there? Until next week, I am plugged happy as a boy in a podcast, Nick McGill. You were going to use that, weren't you?
I'm fitted and wide, Omen said.
We got traction in a special way as the Feckless Momes.
And here's the hook. Yes, it's Talk Tull to Me. Well, George, I haven't seen you down these parts in a dog's age.
Oh, Jethro, look at you wandering up here with a little hitch in your giddy up.
Oh, well, yes, my brother. Let me show. Oh, you know what? I have just got to show you this new sweet little piece that I done picked up down at the automotive lot, if you know what I mean.
You know, I'm pretty sure I heard a Hemi driving up that hill.
Oh, you sure did. It's got the on-center feel, big time. You know what I mean? It's got leather seats, or rather, it used to done have leather seats, but now it ain't got no seats at all. I done took them out.
Oh, you like to do the old stand and drive skidoo.
Yeah, that's right. It takes less pressure on it gives more push for the PSI.
That's what I hear. I see. Do I count 16 tires on that vehicle?
Yep. Well, you know, I wanted to get a rack and pinion but I had to go with the semi-elliptical leaf spring to accommodate them there wheels.
Now, pardon me while I hold this roll bar for just a moment, but what do you get for traction on those wheels?
You know what, George? I'm not gonna lie to you.
Tell me, Jethro.
My whole life, all I've wanted is a special kind of traction. And when I tell you that between the squat and the spoiler on this rig, I get more traction than you could slap your mama with.
I tell you what, boy, I have slapped my mama with more traction than I can think of, and if you get more traction than that, I am just floored.
If I had any more toast here, my mama would slap me.
And you would deserve it.
And I would want it.
Now, can you... I understand 3 winches, but why do you need 6?
Well, ain't got no winches, gotta have the winches.
Fair enough, Jethro, you bring up a valid point.
Unlucky in love, lucky in load barrenness.
You know what, Jethro? Take some of this hooch while I appreciate the beauty of the body of this vehicle. Now, I see a spotlight pointing straight down.
That's right. Well, you see, for the purposes of weight and also because of the vintage nature of this here vehicle, I did have the floor removed.
Ah.
It makes it a little bit more challenging when you're going on the highway, but the benefit thereof is that when the cops done be pulling you over, you can just slip out the bottom, no one will be the wiser. I hide there with the viscous coupling, and the cops just, they are befuddled. I will tell you, they are befuddled. This hooch is, it's like a right slush box.
Call it white lightning.
I don't know why that one got.
I don't know. It's a punch in the face. You know what is more of a punch in the face, though? I would say that bumper sticker you got there is a bit unorthodox.
Well, you know, when you have a 16-wheel, 1,000-pound-foot powertrain push monster.
Push monster.
With more turbos than the sun herself, and more horsepower than the state of Kentucky, you can have whatever bumper sticker you want, and your daddy won't say nothing.
You know what, Jethro? I am proud of you for taking a stand, and you know what? I don't care who knows it.
That's right. I'm proud. I've decided I'm proud of who I am.
I think you ought to be, just like Talk told to me, because they's proud of being a part of the Feckless Mums Audio Network, as that bumper sticker does say.
That's right. And if people won't be impressed by my Hotchkiss suspension, then they will have to respect the fact that I am a proud contributor to the Jethro Tull podcast.
Jethro, let's go for a spin. I'm gonna stand in the back in the bed, and I'm just gonna take my top off. Is it okay?
Oh, hootie. Oh, that's right. There's no clothes around in here. There's extra weight. Watch out for the half shaft.
Yeehaw!